Let's talk about Stephen Crowder. Stephen Crowder was a comedian, a Canadian-American comedian, and he's massive on YouTube at the moment. He's got 5.94 million subscribers. He has a mug club thing. Now, he was with some previous group before, and he had mug club with them, and they, because of the way the contract was signed, I think they kept that, and he's had to start a new mug club because he's been demonetized apparently since around 2014, if going on what he says is correct. So he makes his money from people subscribing to a platform that he owns and buying mugs, that kind of thing. He also does apparently still appear in public and do some sort of stand-up or whatever. But anyway, he's an interesting younger guy, and he has a massive following. And I believe when he got binned off on YouTube, he went over to, what's the one, the green one, Rumble. And the audience he took over there for the time that he was banned, he did a live stream, and it was absolutely massive. It was probably one of the biggest audiences I think they'd ever had. But that aside, he was offered a contract by the Daily Wire. Now, Candace Owens is over at the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro is over at the Daily Wire, and Jordan Peterson's over at the Daily Wire. And they have a huge sum of money that they can throw at people and then write them a contract. Now, if you're a very big person, like a lot of these names are, your contract won't be as bad as others. We'll get to that in a second. However, 50 million didn't seem like a good deal to Crowder. Crowder's worth a few million now, apparently himself anyway. But what it is he's got a team of between, is it 30 and 35 people? They all need paying. They all need health insurance. The studio needs putting into place and all the other bits and bobs. I have no idea how much it would cost for that. No idea at all. But we're talking about some serious money here. Now, the contract was that if you got demonetized off the YouTube platform that you built up, that they would reduce your, and over a certain period of time as well, they would reduce you either 20 or 25%. And if you got, I think, a further strikes or bans or whatever it was off other platforms or something like that, they'd further reduce your income down. And there were more other things that would incur, so that your amount that you would get paid would keep coming down and coming down. The problem with this is that if you do content, what's happening is the left know that they can complain and get you binned off of YouTube, so that you've got to toe the line, because these corporations on the right are writing up contracts that if you do get binned out, you lose lots. So you end up being controlled, kind of, by the right through the left, or by the left through the right. It depends on which way you look at it. Either way, people who used to be quite edgy and say what they like, which makes for better entertainment, if I'm honest. I actually quite prefer swearing and stuff like that, but if you do it within the first 8 seconds, it's ta-ta. Now, there's a lot of YouTubers out there at the moment that are talking about this, but they are seriously big YouTubers, so it's a big deal for them. But YouTube has changed a lot of its rules, regulations, and it does it ongoing. If you went back to, say, 2014, you were doing this, you could be an absolute shitlord. You could have a wonderful time, and the content you put out would actually kind of shock people a bit or take them back, and people kind of like that. But it was different because it wasn't controlled like you would get on, say, for instance, BBC. Netflix, as he said, wasn't putting out the same content, so it was more interesting. Nothing going on tonight, go on to YouTube. And then there used to be spats and dramas between channels, which for some was great, others thought it was rubbish, you know, depending on what you liked, that kind of thing. But nevertheless, Crowder was not somebody I used to watch regularly, but I'm watching this at the moment because it's interesting, because it has some sort of bearing on everybody. So he fell out with the Daily Wire because he said that the contracts they were going to give the other YouTubers was going to be worse. But he rang them up because he's done this video. Lots of other people have done their videos. The Daily Wire have done a video rebuffing what he's saying. He's done another video now, which, to be quite frank, once you finish this, you could go and watch them and it would make more sense. However, the key part I want to play to you is the Daily Wire's way they're going to treat, say, for instance, somebody who's got 100,000 or 200,000 subscribers. You just watch this.
They don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand. They can be wage slaves for a little bit. They can be wage slaves for a little bit.
They could be wage slaves for a little bit. They can come over, become famous and grow their brand. Okay. The part that comes out later on in the video, which I'm not going to bother playing because it's too much. Basically, when you go to them, they then own your brand. Everything. They own everything that you do all the time you're with them. So you would leave them with nothing else but a following, which some people would say fine, but you come up with all the ideas. You come up with the talent, so you have to go and source other talent off the streets to join you, maybe. Whatever. But when any ideas that you come up with in the show, like a mug club or something like that, they own. That's it. You do not take it with you. You leave with nothing, basically. And they think this is all right. And you will work for nothing. Now, there are some people that will think, all right, I'm earning nothing anyway at the moment, so what's the deal? What's the problem? Well, you're being exploited. Now, other people are saying you're not, because at the end of the day, you had nothing, so it was a choice that you could make yourself bigger. But, to be honest, these big techs, they're going to wrap you up in a contract, which means you can't say much, you can't do much. Yes, you will grow a little bit, but when you leave, you've got to start from scratch again. And also, I just don't like the way you could be a wage slave. That kind of really does sum up the way they feel about the people they're meant to be representing, or the people that are meant to be representing them, whichever way you want to look at it again. So this is the problem we have. We've got corporations which are on the left, and we've got corporations on the right, and both of those people pretend to want to do the best by the people that they've got on their platforms. But when you look at the people on the left, there's no difference there. The corporations in the left shaft the content creators on the left as much. Although the difference being is a lot of the content creators on the left toe the line. They follow the narrative, so they haven't got quite so much to worry about. And generally speaking, the people on the right don't go out their way to go reporting people on the left, because, to be honest, we've got better things to do with our time. It's petty, it's childish, it's pointless, it's spoiled, it's immature. I could go on. You get the idea. However, the people on the left do take the greatest of pleasures in doing it to the right. Now, I'm not saying that the left-right dichotomy is pointless anyway, because at the end of the day, all the time we're fighting each other. We're not focused on the people that are really screwing us over, but that's just something else. I can't change that for anybody else. So that's a whole video on its own, that and other things. But anyway, so say, for instance, you've got yourself 200,000 followers, right? You're not growing particularly quickly on YouTube because of reasons. The reasons we all know. What would you do? Would you go over to the Daily Wire, take the hit and very little, hope to build your channel up quite big, and then after your contract's over, say, thanks very much, I'm leaving? Or hope that after, say, for instance, 5 years of being there earning very little, you've built up such a platform that you can then renegotiate your contract? But then there's the thing like, say, for instance, you end up involved in some sort of accident, not your fault, and you can't put out content for a month. Under these contracts that they're offering now, you'd be absolutely screwed. So what would you do? It's not a problem I'm ever going to suffer, but I'm supposing if you've got that amount and you want to go over, you've got that to worry about. So at the moment, Crowder's come up with this idea that he wants smaller YouTubers to go over there. Now, I don't know whether he wants just people from America to go over, and I don't know what size channels. I mean, I know he's approached the quartering. I should imagine that he'd be talking of channels 5, 6, 700,000 from within America. But further afield, I have no idea. And at the moment, this thing is just a pipe dream. He hasn't set anything up yet, but there it is. If you had, say, for instance, 200,000 subs, would you go over to Crowder and become part of his club, hoping that being under the umbrella of a much bigger platform would give you the ability to reach more of an audience and get whatever message it is that you've got out? Is that something you would think about? Because, to be honest, it would be tempting. I'm worried about YouTube at the moment because more and more laws are going to come about, and we're just literally, you'll get to a point where you won't be able to say anything. And they want to become some sort of company that it's like a Netflix thing. They'll have sanitized content creators, and that's it. So people like me and thousands and thousands of others like me, they'll be like, Baba. They'll just either bin us, close us down, or force us off through other reasons. So people like me and people smaller and bigger are looking around at what's the other options. Now, Rumble, okay, is an option, but it's not got all the... It just doesn't have the money behind it, the reach and everything else that YouTube does. So there it is. But go and watch the Crowder debacle if you're interested. Or it's not a feud yet. I think it could be. And there are people who've got their own opinion. I'm watching Styx at the moment, Styx, Hex and Hammer. And I'm also watching, what's the other guy? He's Mark Dice. Now, Mark Dice was very blunt, but he hadn't seen this video that's just come out, the part of the clip that I've just showed you. So I'd like to see what his second video will be in reply to this, because that would be interesting as well. If you aren't subscribed to Mark Dice, he's blunt. And apparently, I don't think he worries about what's it called, ad revenue, because I think he does his own thing, and he's written books and stuff like that. The big thing about a lot of these people is they already came to YouTube with significant amount of pedigree or talents, or call it what you like, under their belt. They were either comedians, or they were actors, or they were singers, or they were publicists, or they were, I don't know, front of house somewhere else, or they have been in the business a long time. I mean, when you look at Mark Dice, he's been doing it 15 years. God knows how many years Crowder's been doing it. Many of us are a bit Johnny-come-lately on this one, and we missed all the good times. If you'd have gone back to 2010, you could have been earning some bank off this, and many were. But like you said, there were people that went out and filmed dead bodies hanging in the woods in, is it Japan or China, I don't know, and that didn't really go down too well. And there were other things that these people just got a little bit too leery, and then the ads, or the people that do the ads, went, oh, I don't know about that, because the ad revenue to Google on YouTube is worth billions a year, many billions, and that's just an unfathomable sum of money. But like they were saying, surely there's got to be advertisers out there who really don't give two monkeys. I mean, there was another YouTuber who was saying, look, you know, there's people that sell sex products and whatever, shove them on my channel. I couldn't give a damn who's sponsoring this. I thought, well, that's interesting. Yeah, but there it is. Tell me what you think in the comments anyway, and do you want me to do videos like this talking about some of the drama that is going on YouTube and give you my opinion, or would you rather I stick to the news? Let me know. Anyway, I'm going to go off and do my usual stuff in a minute. I'll see you in a bit.